Well, I believe in good vibrations is what creates a beautiful nation. All you need is the will to do right, do right, do right.
And we're live. Welcome to a brand new episode of Anecdotal Arguments. I am your host, Jay Fry, and with me, as usual, is Sean. How's it going, Sean?
It's Monday. We're here. Yeehaw.
Mm-hmm. And special guest, Josh. How's it going, Josh?
Howdy, howdy.
And today we have Anecdotally Touchdown on paper.
Untreaded.
And we were a little late to the invasion of Russia into New Russia, or Russia West in some cases. So we have Biden thank for all of his wonderful planning and his sophisticated war effort on this this fine evening. Did we do anything? No, we didn't.
Apparently, we have placed sanctions on those quote-unquote separatist regions, but nothing else. And no sanctions even on Russia.
We are doing so good.
Yeah, that stiffly worded letter worked so well.
Which is about the best we can do without really getting into anything that would lead China to taking over, East Taiwan to taking over Taiwan, I guess.
Oh, good Lord, dog.
Dog.
Dog! Lay down.
So we'll have that safety. In the meantime, I happen to have a flood watch.
That's
You have a
cool.
flood on the side of a mountain.
It's raining above the mountain. It's a flash flood.
Oh, so it's coming down the mountain.
Yeah.
It would be more like I'd be more worried about a landslide.
Well, it's mostly rock up there, so it's more like...
Rock can still break away.
I believe that's called a patch avalanche. The Appalache.
Yeah.
An avalanche? Because you're in Appalachia?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which explains why the cousins I flirt with won't come down here for vacations or anything. But it is what it is. What do we have on the agenda for today? We don't really have any breaking stories on Putin. Putin is food up by Ukraine's ass. Do we?
Well, I mean, there was, the late breaking news that Putin sent troops into those separatist regions of the Ukraine, and Canada has gone full fascist in the last week.
What? I did see I think I saw a Mountie throw an elbow earlier, just drop one on somebody being held down by like 3 other cops. Like, holy shit!
I saw him throwing knees into a dude's head.
Yeah.
Good 3 or 4 solid ones too.
Will you fucking pet the dog?
Oh, he just wants out. Fine, I'll let him out. Stop whining, you big baby. No.
He didn't want out. He just wanted you to get up. So that's what we have for the show today. Nothing, as per usual.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Pretty much.
It's all shit show right now. Just ask as the world goes slowly into madness, as it has been for the past 12 years.
It is mind-boggling to me how much good people will put up with before getting violent, and justifiably violent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah.
Still waiting. Because there are people out there that have absolutely earned it at this point. And they're not getting their comeuppance.
Looking at you, little Castro.
Yeah. Don't know what to say to that, but yeah. This shit's gonna ruin my year, so.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to bust Jutski's balls for something tonight. Now I don't remember why.
I'm supposed to give Matt a reminder of Portland Athena. I don't know why.
The naked chick that flashed her cooter to the cops and was stunning and brave.
Stunning and brave next to the simp protector.
Yeah.
Just he says you said something to say, so I'm participating in chat.
That's why I brought up the thing that I was supposed to bust his balls, but I can't remember why now.
Was it something from last night's show?
Yeah, it was, and now I can't for the life of me remember what the hell it was.
I don't even remember last night's show, and I watched it live.
I didn't watch it.
Oh, I think it was. I know what it was, and Garrick's not here for me to do it appropriately. Not that Garrick cares anymore, but apparently Jutski's going hard at Sarah.
Oh. I always went hard at Sarah.
She's still on the chat?
Yep.
Wow, that's surprising.
I think she has to be blocked because I see people respond to her, but I don't see her responses to them. Because I always went hard at Sarah.
Well, that's because, well, you should have.
I did?
It's because she was, well, what can I say?
Awful human being.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not quite sure why you guys have that much of a negative opinion on her, but okay.
She hurt my boy, Swampy. And she was just not a nice person. So,
I know it's all bad. Maybe she deserves a second chance.
I mean, it's possible.
I mean, Garrick's not here. Never mind.
Right. And again, at this point, I don't think he cares.
Well, yeah.
Speaking of, I got an STD in the mail.
Is that how they're getting delivered in the COVID world now?
Yeah. So I have that stuck in my fridge now.
Can you just say refuse delivery on those then and not get them?
One would hope.
It's your STD.
I don't have an STD, thank you.
Not you. Him.
No.
And all it was an STD, too.
No, I have no idea how you interact with her. All I saw was last night's chat and thought it was funny. So I thought I'd make a big deal of busting your balls.
Did you not know save the dates were sent out, Josh?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Well, I got mine.
I have to check my mail. I'm sure I've got one in there, too. Or he didn't send it to me, and either way. Or was it for Josh's?
I got it Saturday.
Josh, you better have sent mine.
I think we did. We mailed a bunch of them out.
Yep. I got the binds.
Well, there you go. Enjoy.
Thank you.
11 months and some odd days counting.
Like 11 in a week.
Yeah. Kirsten's got a timer on her phone with how many days and everything.
Good God.
Yes.
Is she going to be a bridezilla?
She kind of is, yes. So, I'm just like, all right.
What's great is Raggle doesn't even... I know he's not listening, and he just chimed in.
Oh, boy. What did he chime in with?
Just hi, Jetski. He has no idea we're talking shit about him and Jetski at the same time.
Wow.
Kinda.
Now he knows. Well, in 35 seconds.
Well, no, Jetski will know, but Raggle's not listening.
Good God.
He's hanging out with Matt.
Oh, poor Jetski.
I don't think so. He's a grown man. He can do what he wants with who he wants.
Exactly.
Speaking of a grown man, Peacemaker was boring as shit.
I heard
It felt, it felt more like 60% side quests.
Well, yeah.
It's
like-
John Cena. Sino. I'm sorry. John Sino.
John Chino?
Yes.
Just, I don't know. It could have been better, but it could have been a lot worse. My favorite character was Robert Patrick, who was a racist white dragon. So, fucking nailed it. Hey, look at that. We got a metric up. That's nice.
Yeah, apparently it was... My computer went all funky this weekend, and I had to do a bunch of testing and stuff like that. So apparently it decided that it wanted to grab a different screen than the normal screen.
All right, finally, Poet's here. We can restart the stream.
Oh, good.
Did anybody come up with anything to talk about since then? No, still on?
Let's
Okay,
see.
didn't think so.
No.
Canada, full Nazi. Russia, full Russia. Ukraine, crying in the corner. Joe
Ukraine,
Biden,
full.
shitting his pants, not aware of what's actually going on. Jet skis balls.
You're kind of blue.
I don't want to talk about any of that.
No, I don't either.
Oh, I know what I wanted to touch on briefly. Have you guys been following like any other media channels, like pop culture channels, like The Quartering or Nerdrotic or anything like that?
I do not follow the quartering.
I will occasionally watch The Quartering, but he's kind of annoying for me.
So the thing I figured out about The Quartering is The Quartering talks about other people. He's like He's like a low tier,
Low hanging fruit.
yeah, drama sort of nonsense that he talks.
Yeah, it's a
about.
drama channel.
Yeah, but I mean, he does occasionally cover some different topics that are mildly interesting at best. So I occasionally watch some of his stuff, but I generally don't watch his stuff because it's all about other people and not about ideas. So, meh, whatever. But what they've been covering, and Nerdrotic has been hitting this hard too, is the Amazon Lord of the Rings adaptation that's coming out later this year.
Why did you say it like that? Is it full of black elves?
Yes.
Well, black dwarves. Beardless female black dwarves, I might add.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that don't fly.
I don't recall seeing any female dwarves.
Correct.
So I don't remember them having beards.
Well, there is, if you've read the books, Tolkien describes what the dwarves are, and when they're in The Hobbit, when the dwarves are talking to the Council of Elrond, or whatever it is that they're doing, they explain that female dwarves are often mistaken for male dwarves because they all have beards, and they don't get out much because they protect their women.
I couldn't do it. I tried, and I thought Isengard was a big black dude.
They're taking the hobbits to Isengard?
No, I thought I thought Isengard was a big black dude.
No.
I know that. I know what Isengard is. I couldn't follow. Like, it was just the writing is definitely not my style. Also, I don't really care for Highline either. So Highline, Tolkien, no. It's King too. I don't like Stephen King's writing either. I definitely prefer a Chuck Palahniuk or a not popular to say, but J.K. Rowling. I really enjoy her writing style.
Well, I will say this: Tolkien's writings are very exhausting because of how descriptive he is.
Yeah, well, like I said, I thought Isengard was a big black dude.
No.
But yeah,
I think
Highline, not my thing. Terry Pratchett, I like.
I like Terry Pratchett. I also like Douglas Adams.
Terry Goodkind. Terry.
Bill Bryson.
Oh yeah, Terry. Douglas Adams is also very playful with his writing. I like him too.
Yeah.
Neil Gaiman.
I do not like Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman is overrated as hell. Is he good? Yes. Is he as good as everybody slobs his knob over? Fuck no.
I was simply saying playful.
In a way, I guess. He's too far up his own ass, is my problem with him. Is like, he's playful because he's trying to be playful, not playful like Douglas Adams is just naturally flippant and, you know. Neil
Well, I
Gaiman
kind
has
of
to
felt like
apply
Neil
himself to
Gaiman
it.
was. Yeah, I felt like Neil Gaiman was trying to pull off a Douglas Adams.
Right. Yeah, it's manufactured with Neil Gaiman, whereas it's just natural with Terry Pratchett and Douglas Adams.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Neil Gaiman was famously friends with Terry Pratchett, which is probably why he was trying to emulate Pratchett's style, which is fine. I mean, the homage is a form of flattery, and that's great.
Poet says,
again,
"What's my favorite?" Have you read Palahniuk?
No, I don't think I have.
Well, Fight Club is Chuck Palahniuk, but my favorite is Haunted. Wait, is it Haunted? Is Haunted the series of short stories about locked in a shit? I'm gonna look that up now. I think it's Haunted. But
Yeah, but back to the Lord of the Damn Rings thing that these channels are going off on. Like Archcast did a thing on it today that I watched, and he's just a pretentious prick anyway. But sometimes he says some interesting stuff. But what they're all missing is that the controversy that they're participating in
it's Haunted.
is a marketing strategy that, whether you believe that the woke nonsense is built in because they're doing it because they believe in the woke nonsense, what they're guaranteed, and they are obviously aware of, is that the discussion about how bad the woke is part of the marketing. It's getting them publicity because you're out there bitching about it, and they planned on you bitching about it, which is why they attack you, because then it's going to cause you to bitch more, and all it's going to do is raise prominence of a really shitty product. And the more they talk about, how we're defending, we're anti-woke and we're going to go against the wokeness, you're playing into their game by having these discussions. The best thing you can do is to be indifferent towards it. And just say it sucks, say why it sucks, and then don't engage in any more drama beyond that. Be like, this is too woke for me, I'm out. I don't like the woke shit, I'm done. And don't get into descriptions of it. Don't start, picking it apart on the like the beardless female black dwarf. Yes, it's a problem, and we all know why it's a problem, because we're all Tolkien fans who are listening to your stuff. We don't need to be told why it's bad. We can say, black female beardless dwarf. Yeah, that's not right. And be on with it, and just be like, this is why you don't watch it, and then move on. The more they beat up this topic on it, all it does is generate buzz and revenue so that Variety can put out more articles saying how racist and sexist and misogynistic and Tolkien this and Tolkien that. Just the only thing that's going to make these people stop doing this is indifference.
Mm-hmm. Good God, that was loud in my ears. Yeah, I completely agree. But here's the thing. If you're gonna do race, whatever, do it right. It's fucking Mordor. There's not planes. Everything's traveling by foot. to reach across the country. It takes 11 fucking months. Going to visiting the 3 neighboring countries took 13 months for Bilbo. So if you're gonna have a group that's black, they better all be black. Because one thing that is very depictive of Tolkien, for obvious reasons, because that's the way the world actually works, fucking people, is tribalism. It's not going to be, it's Russia the 80s. There are no black people. And if there is a black person, they cause traffic accidents because they've never seen a black person before. So you want to make all the dwarves black? Knock yourself out. That's a thing. But don't be adding black elves to your elf contingent unless there's half elves or some shit, because...
Oh, there are.
Looking at you, fucking Witcher.
Well, even The Witcher got the bearded female dwarf right. They didn't make a big deal of it. She was just on screen for, a minute or two. But one of the dwarf characters had his girl with him, and she was a good-looking gal, but she had a beard. And you don't draw attention to it other than putting it on screen for a couple of seconds.
When was this?
Season 2. There's a part where Geralt's talking to one of his dwarf buddies who helped him in a couple of fights, and off to the side is his girl with their cart of belongings and stuff because they're going somewhere. And he's like, "Oh yeah, this is my missus, blah blah blah," or whatever. I don't remember the exact dialogue, but they put her on screen for a couple of seconds, and she's a good-looking short gal. Obviously.
Start or the end?
I think at the beginning, if I'm not mistaken. And
I remember the episode.
I don't remember dwarves.
A good-looking gal, and she's short, and she's obviously a dwarf, and she's got a beard. And they don't make a big deal of it; they just show it. And
you say good-looking gal again, and I'm going to start thinking of a fetish.
Well, she's okay. So what it is she's an actress who's obviously a good-looking actress that they put in the role for the female companion for this dwarf hero that's in the show. And
no, I'm just thinking you're ashamed of your fetish.
Not at all. I don't like the bearded women. That ain't my thing. But I appreciate the fact that if you're true to the lore, you're true to the source material, female dwarves have beards. And they showed that. And they don't make a big deal of it. They don't like highlight it or anything. They just show it for a couple of seconds. And then you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Whatever. And you move on because it's realistic to the source material and the world in which they live.
There's a book I read a couple weeks back, and the kid's he was born with all the knowledge of his previous life, but he's in a magic school, and another kid from the magic school has grown up his whole life around dwarves, so he's a little bit more surly than like a normal human teen would be, and he's in love with like every woman he meets. He's like, you grew up with dwarves. Why aren't you attracted to dwarves? He's like, do you know what a dwarven woman looks like? I was like, oh yeah, fair enough. It's like, they're not my type. But I'm fine with like them being stout and not hairy, depending on your literature. I guess you could go dwarves where they're little people who are giants, like in Thor.
Right.
Like, oh, they're little big people. That's so clever. Good on you, Tihu Wahidi.
Well, and Dinklage had no problems, no qualms with that role.
Oh, unless he's not getting one of the 7 jobs, then he'll fucking fire all 7 of those jobs.
Right. And I just think it's ironic that a dwarf is pulling up the ladder on other dwarves. That's just shitty.
Yeah, he's literally the opposite of Warwick Davis. Warwick Davis, like after his second movie, where he was a leading character, started like the Little People Modeling Agency or something like that, and he has all of them under him. And really, you just need like the 4, which were him, Um, Tony Cox, the black one. What's his name? Woodburn. Robert Woodburn? Richard Woodburn? He's in everything else. It's one of those three. Or Vern Troyer for a minute there. Vern Troyer is the only American to be in Harry Potter. Because they wanted to cast from the British casting, but they needed someone absolutely tiny to be in a scene versus Hagrid, and he was the only one they could find to match. So the job went to Vern Troyer.
Okay.
Danny Woodburn. He's the midget in everything.
Well, then they've got they got Dinklage, and then they've got
Yeah, but what's he been in? He's got
Dinklage?
Game of Thrones, Thor, and that
Elf.
I don't remember him in Elf, but I remember Danny Wood.
How did you miss Dinklage in Elf?
Wow.
That was the best scene of the movie, for God's sake.
Yes.
What? I don't remember him. Was he?
He was an
playing?
executive. He was like the writer. He was the claimed children author, wasn't he?
Something like that, yeah. When he was just very pro-business, pro this, that, or the other thing, and like very serious. And Will Ferrell's elf character is in the room because he's visiting his dad, which is James Caan.
Yeah.
So was he his dad's boss?
Kind of. He was his dad's boss's client that he had to super impress to get the deal.
Okay, all right, that would make more sense. I was thinking he was probably an elf or something, but I thought that was a girl.
No, he did not play an elf. He played Peter Dinklage, little person who was in business and was an author and was the client that James Caan had to impress to
Win
get
over.
the deal.
Yeah.
I don't remember him at all. Was it a positive or negative experience? Just trying to. It's Will Ferrell, so I usually.
Well, it was Will Ferrell's innocent elf character, being a human elf who's 6 foot whatever. He's, just been to New York. He's just met his father for the first time.
And Will Ferrell is like 6'4".
Right. And he's like, ooh, an elf. And Dinklage is having none of it. He's like, you motherfucker. Don't make fun of my height. And Will Ferrell goes, ooh, you're an angry little dwarf. And Peter Dinklage gets on the table, runs across the table, and punches Will Ferrell.
Holy, I remember that scene, like him jumping on a table and running across it. And Will Ferrell's just got a big smile on his face and calling. I just do not remember that from the movie. Weird. There's another one too. The Hispanic dwarf that's in everything else. Phil Facundo.
And then on
there's 4.
The television side, there's
Danny
who
Woodburn.
who was the guy on Jackass? Wee Man? Is
Wee Man. Ryan Williams? Brian Williams? Ryan Williams?
Well, no, because there's two. There's the Wee Man that was in Jackass, and I don't know his name. But then
that's not him.
There's a comedian who's also a dwarf. And he's
who
really
everyone
funny.
mistakes for that's
everybody mistakes him for Wee Man.
It can't be Brian Williams. Because Brian Williams is Brian Williams. Brad Williams.
Right. He's the comedian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's the one who humped on Uncle Jesse at the behest of Bob Saget.
Okay.
Because you didn't hear that story?
No.
Bob Saget meets Brad outside. He goes, "Oh, Brad, I need you." He goes, inside is Jesse,
John Stamos.
John Stamos. And we found out he's terrified of dwarves. He's like, "What? That's not a thing." "Yes, it is." "Oh, okay, then what are we going to do?" And Bob Saget knocks on the door and opens it up, and Brad Williams runs in there and starts humping on him on his leg, and he flips his shit, and it starts just bouncing around the inside of the trailer, and they hear the ruckus, and Dave Coulier comes over and he goes, "Brad, cut it out!"
Oh God.
And he ends up falling over, and Brad's like, "Okay, there's enough of this joke before I kill this man." But there's another story about him being at a celebrity golf tournament.
That's where it gets mistaken for Wee Man.
Yeah. And the girl who catches him, and she's like, "You're not Wee Man. I got a picture with Wee Man." And it's also not Wee Man. But it was a different midget friend of his. But yeah, he's not in the movies. But there's Danny Woodburn, who's in like all the movies. And they were all in Willow, of course, because it needed them all. But
well, and Billy Barty was big for a long time. Played R2D2.
Oh, Billy Barty, but yeah, that was the 70s and 80s. Well, and Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
But
let's not forget Time Bandits.
Oh yeah. Also. Watchmen was Danny Woodburn. Bordello of Blood was Phil Facundo. And the Mockery one, what was the Mockery one with the midget Harrison Ford Indiana Jones? I can't think of which one it was. But that was Tony Cox. The black midget. With the Morgan Freeman freckles. I can dig it. But yeah, Dinklage is now it's going to be Snow White and the 7 magical creatures. Which sounds gay as fuck.
Yeah, just stop. Just stop. Stop making this shit. And the only the only way they stop making this shit, if people are just they don't hate it, they just don't watch it. They don't care.
You can't do this representation bullshit. Like, okay, so Apu was not played by an Indian. We all get that.
Right.
But what Apu was a great representation of a foreigner coming. He had more character arc than anybody.
Yeah, and he was the best. He was literally the best American on that show.
Yeah, he was a foreign-born American, and he's the only one who had a story. I mean, the closest thing you have to a story arc next to Apu is the Flanders divorce.
Well, no, she died.
The death, sorry.
Yeah,
divorce. Oh my God, Flanders getting left for. No, he definitely would have been cucked. He wouldn't have left. He wouldn't have left his wife. But that's like the closest thing. But Apu had a divorce, and 17 children? What the fuck?
Yeah, a whole bunch of children.
Yeah, but he's the only one who really had an arc, and like his crime was not being voiced by a brown person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because, one guy got upset that it was a negative stereotype when it was actually the exact opposite. It was a very positive stereotype.
Yeah. He fucking made his own business and he succeeded. But, like, at what point can you have... Can you force a trans person to tell the story of Elliot Page? We understand that you are now a male, but to the full story arc of this character, you're going to have to go back and play a female character. Yeah, I understand that you are a lesbian, but we're going to need you to go back and play Juno, who is a female character that has a male love interest. Even though that's against everything that you are right now, I need you to pretend that. Hank Azaria has Pity Brown. But we're going to need you to go back and do what the fuck ever. I'm sorry that you're handicapped, but we need somebody who can play both ends. We need someone who can walk at the beginning, get hit by the car, and then go to the wheelchair. It's fake. It's make believe. We need people who can do things that somebody who is that can't do. There's a reason Christopher Reeve stopped acting after the horse dropped on him. I don't know. Comic Book Man was pretty positive to those stereotypes of a fucking comic book nerd.
Yeah, it's still a negative stereotype, though.
What? But like, this representation shit is shit, man. It's not how it's supposed to go.
Well, and not only okay, I'm okay with like race swapping some characters. Like, I don't think that that's a huge deal necessarily, unless it's, you know, stated otherwise. It's why Tom Cruise should not play Jack Reacher.
Dude, preach it.
That is just as egregious as, say, Idris Elba playing James Bond. I don't care if you make Idris Elba 007. I can
preach it,
but he is not fucking James Bond.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a continuation of the Bond story, which they're doing now with a female 007 who is of color as well, which I honestly don't give a shit. I'm fine with that. That doesn't piss me off in the slightest. It's just not James Bond.
I want to go the opposite direction. I want a pre-James Bond 007 that is a black guy. And it is blatantly obvious that 007, and he's 007 because he works the 7 sector, Russia, you know, that area. That's where all of his connections are. That's where his Macau, Bangkok, whatever the fucking game he plays is. All that
Baccarat.
shit. Baccarat.
But
Baccarat.
He does spend an awful lot of time, amount of time in America and the Caribbean. Because
the American stuff was chasing leads, though, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with all that stuff. But I want Idris Elba, because I do like Idris Elba, even when he played Heimdall, which I'm really not a fan of, so that you can understand that James Bond is not. Oh, the fuck was that?
I have no idea.
James Bond was not the. James Bond got shit done, but he was never supposed to get shit done. He was the front man who literally ran around everywhere and said, "Hi, I am James Bond. I'm going to sleep with your girl." And did all the eye turning, like the eye catching and all the flashiness, while shit happened behind the scenes. And to have Idris Elba walking around Russia, just being black, would do that enough. Like, holy shit, was that a black man? And still being charming enough to bang all the chicks. There you go. The white chicks.
Well,
oh my god.
Wrapping this around to the Lord of them Rings, nobody cares if you have a black dwarf. Like, that's fully not an issue with, especially the fans. The fans are like, yeah, the dwarves can be black, whatever. I mean, it doesn't make much sense, but if you're going to do it like you said, make them all black. Okay, that's fine. Nobody gives a shit.
Because it's a fucking group.
But what people do give a shit about, what fans give a shit about, is you just showed me a beardless female dwarf. That does not compute in the world that Tolkien created. You've made an aggression willfully. Not that she's black, because that's whatever. Who gives a shit? No beard. Which again makes no sense when you say, okay, well, they're trying to apply wokeism to it. Wouldn't that be the perfect opportunity to have bearded women?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? You've just excluded the trans community that would do that and be perfect at it, and you said no. What the absolute fuck?
Yeah. Or, all right, my biggest problem with Tom Cruise playing Jack Reacher was the height. But after that, he was pretty okay, but a little Sherlock Holmesian. Which isn't Jack Reacher. Jack Reacher is a logical thinker with a shit ton of experience from the military. Not the brightest bulb in the drawer. Like he's not solving complex math equations in his head, but he can take out of the 3,000 times I did this, 2,900 of the times this happened. And so my biggest problem with Reacher, played by Gigantor, the actual Jack Reacher lookalike, was just how much more Sherlock Holmesian he was, because Jack Reacher is an internal person, and he thinks more than he talks. And because it's a movie, you can't do that, so he had to talk more. So to prove he was right about things, he ended up coming off very much Sherlock Holmesian.
Well, again, that goes back to the some things do better in different media.
Yeah.
Not everything makes a good movie. Not everything makes a good TV show. Not everything makes a good anime. Not everything makes a good live action. Not every, there's different media for different ideas and how, that best express those ideas.
In case you were thinking otherwise, Sean Connery will slap a bearded bitch. He does not care. Schlopper. But he needs that also to come. Yeah, just make it make sense. Like an Indian Leon Kennedy doesn't make sense. Like, where'd your Punjabi ass get the last name Kennedy from? Like, it's understandable with Browns. Every black person's named Johnson, White, or Washington. Like, yeah, that's understandable, but Kennedy?
Well, and then when is it going to cross that line to being, you're not being, if a person of color is playing a character, but it's not of color enough for the audience, when they're going to start bitching that the character is still whitewashed despite being played by a person.
They already did. The chick, the time traveling chick who jumps in front of Captain America to be the first person to punch out Hitler. She's not Mexican enough.
Oh, that's American Chavez. Dude, you want to? I'm not huge into comics, and American Chavez is exactly why. That's so far down the nonsense train that comic books devolve into that's why I'm not a comic book fan. I mean, I've got some comic book history behind me in reading stuff in my youth, but it went so stupid in the late 80s that I stopped because it was ridiculous, and it's only gotten worse since.
I like the graphic novels. I did a bunch of graphic novels. But yeah, it's and then the Little Mermaid coming out in 2023 with Javier Bardem as King Triton, and Haley Bailey as Ariel, who's a black girl. I was like, we're gonna need to Mrs. Triton here to really understand how you have so many multiracial children. Some's not adding up here.
Well, and that doesn't offend me. Again, with fictional characters, other than the source material being, Norwegian or whatever it is, Icelandic. I'm not even sure which one that one is.
I don't know, Ursula. I don't know. How do you have melanin as a mermaid? But I would be equally as pissed if Casper Van Dien played Aladdin. I didn't really mind The Rock playing. What was he? An Arcadian, but don't give on occasion you do the wrong race, and it really bothers me.
Well, again, it goes back to my James Bond theory. James Bond is described very succinctly in the books, in the novels, as being a British commander in the Royal Navy, and it is pretty explicit that he's a white dude.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't care if you have another 007, because that's just a position. But James Bond is James Bond, and you don't cross the race. And that's a fictional character, but it's based on the description of the character.
And I am loyal to canon no matter what it is. I'm upset that they replaced an Asian with an Afro Asian in what's that shit that Disney movie? Artemis Fowl. The guy's supposed to be very Eurasian, and it's a bleach blonde black dude for some reason. But I'm also upset that Judi Dench played Commander Groot, who's supposed to be a male. But it's for different reasons. It's not a female. I love Judi Dench usually.
Yeah, she's pretty much good in everything she does.
Yeah, she's a great actress, but she's a female, and the storyline is about the first female. She has pressure on her because she's the first female, so you can't make her commander female.
Right.
That's my issue.
Yeah,
put in fucking Bill Nye with it.
It cheapens the story.
Yeah, so that had to be taken out because they went with Judi Dench, who again did a great job. But just do it the right way. Don't do these things. I had as much issue with the race swapping as the sex swapping for the same reasons. The book is the book for a reason. You want to make a good book into a good movie, use the good book.
Yeah.
But they did. They fucked that thing up so bad.
Well, and I even took issue with Tilda Swinton playing whatever that role she was in the Doctor Strange stuff.
I didn't have knowledge. Like Tilda Swinton, she doesn't do anything for me. But like her as Gabriel, I was like, isn't that supposed to be a dude, or is it supposed to be androgynous? Or...
Well, then that's the thing. I'm okay with her playing like that because she's A, androgynous, and B, has very distinct features that one could consider angelic. So I'm okay with her playing like Gabriel. That makes a lot more sense to me. You're going for a unique, otherworldly look, and that works. Like, she would make a great elf because of that as well. But when she's playing, I don't even remember the character's name, but the Grand Master of this Tibetan whatever, it makes absolutely zero sense for that character to be Tilda Swinton.
Well, Wong was the only Eurasian in the whole fucking thing.
Well, again, if you want to have Doctor Strange is obviously a white dude, whatever.
Yeah, but like the villain was
more Wangs or Wongs. Was it Wong? Was it? Right?
Wong? Yeah,
I think it's Wong. You have more actors like him, and again, that makes a lot of sense because I'll go back to my favorite movie of all time, Big Trouble in Little China. They cast every agent they could get their hands on because they needed them to play the roles believably.
Yeah.
It's not exploitation, it's actual legitimate work that portrays the characters as they're supposed to be portrayed. There's nothing racist about that.
Maynard says the Ancient One, which was an old Asian man. So not a British woman, I think. Not positive, but I think it was a British woman.
Yeah, she's got a British accent, but that just might be because she doesn't. She might be Icelandic. I'm not even sure.
Oh.
But yeah, why not cast James Wong for that role? He's literally perfect.
He's old as shit, bro.
The role was an ancient old Asian man.
It would have lended credibility to the fact that the Ancient One was cheating time instead of being a relatively young time cheater.
Plus, you can tie it in because he was fucking Lo Pan.
You can't tie that in. I don't want that to be canon.
Well, no, what I'm saying is it gives him credit because he played Lo Pan so well. Why not make him the Ancient One in the Marvel Universe? It makes fucking sense.
Did you get the Asian I sent you? Did you get who that was?
Yes, it was Short Round.
Yeah, he's back in acting again.
Oh, good. He needs
30
more
years later.
roles.
Yeah,
Hey,
actually, he's opposite Michelle Wu in some movie about um, dimensional shifting, like in every dimension you're a different person, kind of thing. And she goes dimension hopping, and she meets her husband in different dimensions, and finds her in different dimensions, and different choices they make. Blah blah blah. Anyways, he loved it so much he came back to acting for it. Like they sent him that script. He's like, I don't act anymore, and he loved it so much he came back for it.
Oh, good.
all right.
Um,
I'm gonna go ahead and hop off here, fellas. You have a
you
good
have a
night.
good. Take care, brother.
All right. Night, George.
Later.
And or alien.
Eh.
Yeah, James Bond. Also, I would have gone with Carrie, other Jap guy, the Jap version of of James. Because there was two groups. There was the every Asian that could make it into Big Trouble in Little China, and the ones who didn't were in Showdown in Little Tokyo.
Yep.
And the crossover in between because they needed stunt supervisors for both of them. But yeah, sometimes they get away with it. Like they didn't get away with it in the Hellboy, which good for them. I liked the Asian guy. I don't see why they wouldn't have cast him. I don't see why they needed to make it somebody. But again, there needs to be movies out there from those communities that that bring these people to a higher standard, so that they can be cast in these critical roles that need people to be the face of a movie. Like there's a reason Selma Blair was the fire starter in Hellboy. Like that was a great cast. That cast was so good that David Hyde Pierce had so much respect for Doug Jones. David Hyde Pierce refused credit for the role of Abe Sapien.
Yeah.
And Doug Jones was so good of an actor that in the second movie, that was him doing his impression of David Hyde Pierce instead of having David Hyde Pierce back. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I didn't, but that's good to know.
Yeah. So Doug Jones, hell of an actor, surprisingly. Even though you can't find him in anything where he doesn't have 25 pounds of makeup on.
Well, I mean, when you look like a freak and you got to do something with you, I mean, that's why he gets the roles.
Dude, you literally look like the Ice Cream Man from what was that movie with the Paul Bettany as the angel? Oh, that was such a fucked up character with the Ice Cream Man played by Doug Jones.
Now you're gonna make me look that up.
Speaking of, one of my other favorite in costume stunt guy, well, not stunt guys, but costume characters, was in Legion. That's right. Yeah, was in Chris Heidenthal was in Peacemaker as a regular person. And I was like, good to see you again. I fucking love you, you Canadian fucking comic book character. He was in like every episode of Stargate that required an alien. Or Matt Fuhrer was another one, but he also did actual acting. But he was pretty good with accents, and he was Max Headroom.
Doug
Fuhrer?
Good, solid Canadian actor.
Yeah. Who was sometimes a good, solid Australian actor. Who was sometimes a good, solid other actor. just depending on what you need from the man. He played Job in Lawnmower Man 2.
Yeah. Lawnmower Man, the movie that everybody forgot because those graphics did not hold up.
What was the other one that was atrocious? Like, Brainstorm.
Green Needle?
wasn't it Brainstorm? Mindstorm? Mind blown? Brainstorm. No, that's Christopher Walken. Mindstorm? Mindstorm. Don't think it was this one either. Jesus, Michael Ironside's looking old. As is William Zebka and Eric Roberts.
Yeah, everybody's aged 20 years since the good stuff they were in.
Okay, I can't think of the name of it, but I know Edward Furlong was in it.
But yeah, I mean, if the argument is that if you don't like what Twitter is or Facebook is, make your own. Why can't Hollywood do the same for
Brain Scan? Damn it.
For their woke agenda? Why do they always have to co-opt something that already exists? You know, why can't you just write good characters of color or of various sexualities, or you know, why must everything be subsumed?
Oh, speaking of, Frank Langella was in that. Frank Langella was Skeletor in.
Why does Ironheart have to basically be Iron Man, but a black chick? Why does the new Hawkeye have to be a white chick? You know, why can't these individuals come up with their own backstory, their own powers, their own place in the universe? What is prohibiting that?
Did you watch Friday's Timcast?
No, I don't watch on Fridays.
Okay. Well, I don't watch on Fridays either. I watched it yesterday. But that was a very fair point they were making while talking with Dallas something fucking French that I don't care to remember. And he was the director and writer of Run, Hide, Fight, and the new one coming out, Terror on a Prairie, with Art from damn it, what's his name? Art from Justified. I can't think of his name. Anyway, is he ended up hooking up with the cast of Daily Wire to distribute Run, Hide, Fight after it had been finished. You know, doing his little labor of love that was Run, Hide, Fight. And then they went together with Gina Carano, and they put together the script, and they got that, and they're putting it out there. And you know, they talked about that for a minute there, about the casting and the fuckery and whatnot, and I enjoy it, like the idea behind it. I haven't seen Run, Hide, Fight yet, but I'm gonna. And apparently his next movie's gonna have Carrie Elliott, who knows that it's being produced by the Daily Wire. So, you know,
well, it's not like he's getting much work in Hollywood, so he might as well.
Treat Williams is in Run, Hide, Fight, and I love me some Treat Williams. I fucking love me some Treat Williams. First rated R movie I ever saw was Dead Heat with him and Joe Pesci. And I knew nothing about Joe Pesci. And then like 2 years later, I saw Joe Pesci in that one movie we always quote, Johnny Dangerously. Shoots through schools.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
What we talked about?
Well, currently, Joe Pesci and Johnny Dangerously. Did you know the 88 caliber shoots through school?
Did not.
Yeah. So, did you watch Friday's Timcast? With the director?
No, I don't think so.
With the director?
With Dallas Sonia? Yeah, I did. I actually listened to it today.
What's his last name?
Sonia.
Sonia. It's like it looks more like solar, but apparently
I know. It's because he's from Shreveport. He's from Louisiana, so I know how to say his last name.
Yeah. I said Dallas something French. That's how I but yeah, like I was just cluing Sean in on what he was saying about them creating their own parallel economy with what the Daily Wire is doing after they picked up the finished product that was Run, Hide, Fight, and what they're doing in the future.
Right. Well, I mean, my take on it is it's not enough for just the Daily Wire to do it, because then they'd just be the Fox amidst CNN, NBC, ABC, all the rest of them. What we need Rumble to get in on this. We need Tim Pool to get in on this, which I think he is. He said, well, he's doing exclusive stuff to him. We need to get this more marketed to the wider public. It's not enough for us to just have this behind a paywall.
Agree, but he did say to make a studio rivaling the studios in Hollywood, it's $500 million.
Yeah. So what the Daily Wire crew is doing is they're building an alternative for those people that are in Hollywood to get products made that are not being made in Hollywood. So you can start
in Hollywood, but not of Hollywood.
Right. So you can start getting different scripts, and you can get the stuff that's getting denied by this. Like, I'm sure there's a ton of scripts out there for different projects.
It's like they said, he read. Well, I don't remember if this was. I don't think this was Timcast. I think this was with Ben Shapiro. He talked about this.
I'm fine with you.
He's read upwards of 400 scripts in the last year, so it's not for a lack of looking. But the one thing I will give this is what I think needs to happen to the entertainment industry. I think my wake up call was when somebody told me that when you say "let's get ready to rumble" in a particular fashion, you owe that person that owns it royalties.
$800,000.
Michael Buffer.
Michael Buffer has a trademark on it.
I'm sorry, but that is going too far with what you can claim as property.
Well, no, you could say "let's get ready to rumble." That's fine. You can say "let's get ready to rumble." It's the way in which he says it that's trademarked.
Well, still, I think we're going a little too far with what we get trademarked, and there's too much commercialization when it comes to Hollywood. Like, I forget who I heard talk about this, but one of the things that they do when they go through a script is they analyze it and push it through what's basically an algorithm, but it's human beings that are going, no, this doesn't work with this demographic. You need to cut this. You need to cut that. And when you do that, you're not getting good writing.
They need to stop that shit.
Yeah. Well, so
they're doing
this is
test
why.
audiences all wrong.
Mhm. This is why I think the better way to do this would be to get to. This might get me in some hot water, but make piracy of this type of media non-prosecutable, and then you open it up to an actual meritocracy.
No, that's a shit idea.
But there's got to be a way of crowdfunding. Like, if you'll get honest people to donate to it, like if you make the case that you have a good script or you can put a good movie together, you should be able to crowdfund it to make something happen.
Yeah, and they do. I mean, literally, producers crowdfund all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and you.
But they're going to investors that are interested in making money. I'm interested in people who want to watch a good movie.
Mm-hmm. And there's both versions of that. Like Roger Corman is famous for getting most of his funding in like the final quarter of the year as tax write-offs and creating it in the next year as the movie. And on occasion, unfortunately, that movie comes with or that funding comes with strings. Like
well, I think was it Nick Searcy that was kind of talking about this? Every movie that Hollywood makes gets its own corporation or something or another. It gets its own it's basically a company, and that's how anybody that invested in it gets paid.
I didn't actually watch it.
It's just a weird system.
I called him Art from Unjustified. I couldn't think of his name for a minute there. Which is funny because I've actually had an interaction with him that was hilarious.
Really?
About 3 months after it happened.
Oh.
Yeah, like he came back and was talking shit on my Facebook page. Yeah, on my Facebook page. Well, I was on his side, but he got into a fight with Kevin Nash over something, and I'm like, dude, Kevin Nash is 6'10" and would fuck you up.
Yeah.
But I was still on his side, like I was agreeing with him because Kevin Nash is a bit of a toolbox. And like he still got stabbed in the Punisher and took it. Like not a joke. Dude's a badass. Like he would fuck you up, Nick Searcy. And I was like, I just got my ass handed to me by Nick Searcy, and the worst part is I agreed with him. I mean, it'd be funny if it didn't happen to me. He goes, but it did, and I think it's hilarious. I'm like, what the fuck, Nick Searcy? Get off my page. But this is like 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, this nigga gonna get you killed.
like, and he was just picking on me, and I'm like, what? This is gonna be funny, just not right now. This is gonna be good. It's just not. Well, and he even said that I'm like, this is gonna be a really funny story eventually. He goes, I think it's funny now. Like, you're not me, Nick Searcy. Stop it. He used to have a YouTube channel about Nick Searcy's Hollywood acting tips or something like that.
Okay, so I'm going to address something. Black Magic, when it comes to the difference between Creoles and Cajuns, Creoles it originates basically from around New Orleans because that was the main trading post. You'd have African ships coming in with all the slaves and whatnot. They hang around. A lot of other people would stay there too. So Creole means if you are born in that area, it literally translates to born of the post because, like you said, New Orleans was the trading post, whereas Cajuns were exiled from Acadia and migrated down the Mississippi River to a lot of that area of Louisiana.
Yeah, Creole is a pidgin French language.
Yeah. And it's spoken a lot in it's spoken a lot in like Cuba and what's the other one? Dominican Republic and
Haiti.
a bunch of other places like that. Haiti.
Haiti.
I was trying to think of the other one.
Yeah. But yeah. So they are attempting to make Hollywood outside of Hollywood, which it's already happening. There's a ton of Peacemaker was made in Canada. And,
almost
Vancouver
everything is being filmed in Canada or Georgia or places other than Southern California now because of the tax laws and the tax breaks you get for doing the production elsewhere. But the problem is these companies are still running their financing and their money laundering through Hollywood itself.
They have to, though, which is something he spoke of, because the unions, like the stuntman's union,
And the
is
Film Actors Guild.
well, the stuntman's kind of union.
Okay.
Is their insurance is through the union. So to get stunt actors on your set, you have to run it through the union. And in all of Dallas Creole's movies, people die. So he needs
Dallas Saunier.
What the fuck ever.
Say it with me, Saunier. Saunier. There you go. Dallas Saunier.
Yeah. The Wilford Brimley School of Cajun Accents from Hard Target. Oh, down right there, though. That's all right there. Oh, God,
well, no, if you want a really good Cajun accent, you watch what's that Disney movie? The Princess Frog, and the little firefly guy. He has a spot on Cajun accent. Like, it shocked me how well he did. Like, I know people that talk like that. It's insane.
But I guess True Blood would be the other Cajun accents to go to. No,
I never saw it.
It was filmed in Louisiana. So
yeah, but it was in New Orleans. I mean, yeah, it's a different accent.
Yeah. But he was just saying, like, they've what Solier, whatever the fuck his name is, wants to do is he wants to go back to the 50s. So if you've seen Three Amigos, that's what he wants to bring acting back to. I
don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. It's like saying get rid of unions, though, and it's not going to happen. But
well, you just need to find people that are willing to break away from the union and act independently.
It's not going to happen. But what you can do is find the next generation. And I'm fine with that. You spend the next 5 years making High School Musical 1 through 4, and then you've got College Musical 1 through 4, and after that you've got adults who've gotten a filmography underneath them. And
hey, Maynard, you be careful. Don't you fuck with me. I'll make a gumbo and knock your socks off.
Yeah. Yeah, especially that grasshopper fiddle and to play the banjo. That's a really impressive part. But you can do it in a little period. Like he has people who were in Run, Hide, Fight that are doing successfully now, but they're doing successfully in Hollywood. So maybe we could take a beautiful young lady who has not been corrupted by Hollywood with their fucking gangbangs and their Harvey Weinstein nonsense, and cast her in a 3-picture deal if she's talented enough. And we could go back to like the late 70s, early 80s, where you could have the ABC stars versus the NCD stars.
Well,
I used to love
that's
it.
not my problem.
Stars was great.
That's not my problem with movies nowadays. My problem with movies nowadays is that they don't rely on writing to have a good movie. They rely on a passable story with very good special effects and action.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm worried about with what he wants is he wants to bring back writers' rooms and hire like 6 guys to write a script. And I'm like, that's really going to limit you. But after what we've been seeing for the last 2 decades, how bad could it be?
Well, I mean, the problem is that for the last decade, we've been pretty much only served up the high flash, high special effect,
Marvel.
Basically superhero movies. Yeah, and those things that are akin to superhero movies. I mean, even stuff like John Wick and Reacher and the stuff that Tom Cruise is doing, they're all high special effects. There's no
The Fast and Furious fan tries.
Oh, please! I've never
Fan
watched a lick
tries.
of it, nor do I ever want to. And that's the other thing.
Watch
too.
the first. The
Not
first one.
everything-
The first.
Not everything needs to be a fucking commodity property that you can just make sequels endlessly over. Sometimes you
But
just need to tell a
watch
goddamn
just-
story.
Just watch the first one. It's really the only good one. It really
Why
is.
bother? Why not?
Because it's actually a pretty good story.
7 was pretty good. Fuck yourself. No, I haven't seen it.
I don't know if I watched past 5.
I think it's like it's named after like people instead of Fast and Furious 7. But yeah. So what? He brought up Joker, which is not a DC movie. It was him wanting to make Taxi Cab. Taxi Drivers. Thank you. that would have been Taxi Cab. Him wanting to make Taxi Driver, which is funny because De Niro was in it. And instead of making Taxi Driver for $13 million, he made it for $55 million. And Joaquin Phoenix was the Joker.
Which
and that movie made $1 billion.
I'm not complaining about, but it doesn't necessarily fit with the rest of the Batman franchise, because the Joker is actually really smart.
Well, I mean,
but Joaquin Phoenix's Joker isn't.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so if DC had any brains at all, they'd stop with this Justice League universe that they're trying to do. The one thing that DC has going for it that Marvel does not is that DC has the better villains. And if DC could figure out how to make compelling movies about their villains, they'd do way better than if they try to sell their lame-ass superheroes.
Yeah. Reacher doesn't have a lot of special effects. But, yeah.
But it's basically a superhero movie.
No, it's a procedural cop show.
Oh, the show. Okay. But the movie.
The books are procedural cop shows.
What did you think of his comments on Chris Nolan's Batman movies?
Oh, Tim was kind of right about that's the other thing. The Joker isn't smart. The Joker is unpredictable. And I like the way he compared it with when you're playing poker with somebody who doesn't know how to play poker, and they end up getting a flush on a 2 and a 7.
2 and a 7, yeah.
Yeah, I appreciated that. And the Joker is not a genius. He is unpredictable to a logic man like Bruce Wayne, with his 27 secret degrees and his infallible brain. Like he was just unpredictable, and that's what kept Bruce and Batman on his toes. And it is like someone who's that crazy cannot pull off timed rigged explosives with the group. But what happened in the Joker was the people weren't following the Joker as a person. They were following an ideology of being sick of the shit. And it made much more sense. And the havoc that was caused was the havoc the Joker appreciated but was not responsible for. And it is, Heath Ledger's Joker was a magical creature who just happened to have bombs everywhere.
Yeah, but that's a little more in keeping with like the Joker in a lot of the comic books, right? Like he does a lot of that zany kind of shit with rigging bombs in random ass places.
But the Joker doesn't go around planting bombs though. Like he has henchmen who are actually certified bomb assholes. But like the Penguin,
right? So why doesn't that pan out in the Chris Nolan movies?
Because he didn't have the structure. It was him starting out. It was like a first-time Joker.
But he did. You see that in quite a few scenes in the movie.
He's recruiting as he's going because he doesn't have an infrastructure.
But he's literally going through people like crazy.
Exactly. Who's signing up for that?
Well, they kind of touch on that whenever, which one was it? Was it Gordon that got shot? And what's Two-Face? Harvey.
Dent.
Yeah.
Dent. he grabs one of the guys and drives him and threatens his life, and he realizes that he's one of the crazy people from Arkham. I mean, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, they're just there's too much
The
magic.
other scenes, it's a bunch of young gangsters, so just trying to follow the new boss.
Because he's the new boss, because he's recruiting constantly. But to have like his level of like rigged timed explosives that you can only get to one way, like the ferries that happen to be rigged to blow up at the same, like, just no. Go fuck yourself, guys.
They weren't rigged to blow up at the same time. They were rigged with remotes. It's not quite the same thing.
No, they were rigged to blow up at the same time if one didn't blow up the other one.
No, because he had the trigger that triggers both of them, remember? There is no timer. It's all remotes. Even the hospital one, he's literally walking and the remote's not working, which was actually, it made me laugh when I saw it in theaters. Like, he's fucking around trying to make this thing start blowing up, and then suddenly it starts blowing up behind him.
That was an error.
Oh, fuck.
That wasn't supposed
I know,
to
but that was improvisation.
Yeah, that was an error.
It was
which is nice,
brilliant.
because that would have cost
$1
$1 million if you had to reshoot that. All right, didn't work first time. Let's rebuild the set. Everybody grab pieces and stick the hospital back together. But no, the bomb on the ferry, there wasn't a timer?
There was no timer. There was 3 remotes. Each captain had one, and the Joker had the third.
No, the prisoners had the one.
The prisoner threw it out the window, yeah. There was no timers. The only timers he had in that entire movie were the ones that blew up Harvey Dent and Maggie Gyllenhaal, whatever her character was.
Okay,
Dawson.
Okay, whatever, yeah.
That's the only 2 with timers.
No, not Maggie Gyllenhaal. Katie Holmes.
Holmes. There you go. Was it?
Yeah. Well, no.
No,
it was Katie.
No, that was
Holmes
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Katie Holmes.
Then
was
it's
Batman Begins, but it was.
Then Dark Knight is Maggie Gyllenhaal.
It was Maggie Gyllenhaal in The Dark Knight.
How do you replace Katie Holmes with
I know.
Maggie Gyllenhaal?
I know. I agree. 100%.
But the thing that you're missing there is that there was no timer on the ferries. There was 3 remotes, and it didn't matter because the Joker is this maniacal. It did not matter if one blew up the other. His plan was always to blow them both up. That's why he had the third.
I mean, yeah.
But he's not a guy with a plan. Do I look like a guy with a plan? Yeah. Everything you've done was fucking perfectly planned.
That's manipulation for Dent. That has nothing. That's not actually true. It's kind of like his story about how he got the scars. He doesn't tell the same story twice.
And none of the stories he tells are true.
Exactly.
Yeah, he had one of those popsicles. That's how he got the scars. Those icy popsicles.
Yeah.
Right, and I mean, and you can't say that he doesn't plan, because how else did he get the cell phone into that crazy prisoner's?
Oh, I know. There is some degree of planning, but there's some degree of improvisation, in my opinion.
No, I can buy the fact that he's got
Because again,
a dozen different irons in the fire and is just playing whichever one is convenient. That I can buy.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean,
well, it's like he says in the final scenes with him. It's, you didn't think I was going to leave the fate of Gotham in a fist fight with you. His ace in the hole was Harvey. So he's got a plan and is playing along with it.
Wow.
Is the best I can put it.
But if he would have had a plan, Batman would have been able to decipher a plan. The whole thing is he's so crazy, his plans don't make sense.
He has a plan. He just doesn't know how he... Well, yeah, I don't know.
No, I think it goes back to he's got 12 different things going on, and he's going to play up whichever one causes the most chaos.
Yeah. I like Jack
Nicholson's
Joker I prefer to Heath Ledger. Not Heath Ledger did a great job as Joker, But Jack
Mhm.
Nicholson's Joker makes so much more sense.
The order I would put him in is probably Heath Ledger, probably Joaquin Phoenix next, then Jack Nicholson, then
Caesar.
I guess
Romero.
whoever.
Who the fuck are you going with?
I guess I have to go with that one because Jared Leto's dead fucking last. Like I hated his Joker. It was terrible.
Is there a comic book in which that Joker is a thing?
Kind of, but almost retroactively. It was one of those things that came out when Harley Quinn kind of took off as her own thing, so they kind of made a different Mr. J, and it's not the Joker, it's Mr. J. So it's kind of a different character. It's just it's to get the tragic high school chicks into comic books. They played up Harley Quinn, who debuted on Batman the Animated Series, and she took off like crazy because she's an interesting character. So then when they made her own comic book, they made Joker a part of it because she's tied to the Joker, but it's Mr. J, not Joker, not Batman's Joker. If that makes any
so
sense.
Sally Toy says Heath Ledger is Dark Horse Joker, and Jack is DC Joker.
Okay, I don't have a whole lot of knowledge on the comic books. To be
Maynard
fair,
just nailed it. Maynard nailed it. He just nailed it.
He's right.
Okay. Maynard, you win.
And I do agree to a certain extent. The comic, the cartoon Joker, he makes sense too. Like he's way more playful, and he definitely gets his ass whooped the most.
Yeah, and he's the exact right amount of crazy while being the right amount of conniving.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, Mark Hamill's best Joker. As far as live action goes, where they're actual people. Jack Nicholson pulling out that .88 caliber. Shoots through bat wings. Yeah, so I guess we solved that one. Beat that, neurotic.
But going back to my point about DC having the best villains, Joker might be the best villain DC has, but there are so many others of their villains that are so much better.
They have like the bell curve of villains, because they also have the stupidest.
That's true. They do have some of the dumbest, but they have ones like Lex Luthor that are incredibly interesting. They have ones like Scarecrow, which would be absolutely terrifying if you could do that justice. But instead, he plays a bit part in the Nolan universe, which is like that. He should be a major bad guy in Nolan's universe. He's like I actually might even be better than Joker in The Dark Knight if they focus on.
He got it to the 50-yard line in Batman Begins. He didn't go the full length that he could have. Like he got it right for the realm that he's setting it up in to compare it to Joker. Like it's close. He didn't go far enough.
That guy is great in Peaky Blinders.
I need to watch that.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Batman is best as batshit crazy guy. So you're a Keaton fan, huh?
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Just crazy enough to get shot in the chest. My plan's coming along perfectly.
But yeah, DC, and again, this is good. This goes back to if Disney had a clue of what to do with Star Wars, they would just make a shit ton of Order 66 movies.
I don't know what that means.
Build me up a Jedi that you're supposed to care about. So this is post the original trilogy, but before the goat fart that they made of the last three movies.
Oh, that explains it.
Where Vader is hunting down the Jedi.
Because
that is canonically. Oh yeah, I guess it is. It's pre the original series, so it's between the prequels and the original series.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you have Vader hunting down Jedi. You can make as many of these movies as you want. You could make them very formulaically, but you come up with an interesting Jedi character, That's a badass. And you make the audience root for the Jedi, but they all know that in the end, the monster of Vader is going to come and beat their shit in and kill them.
Well, he's a black guy, but then when he's a good guy, he's white. It's like, no, that was James Earl Jones the whole time. There is a part in Peacemaker where he makes fun of Batman for catch and release with Joker. And he's right. Yeah, I definitely don't like the DC or the Marvel villains as they've been put out. Like but then again, like the Suicide Squad, that was a shit villain. There's no difference between the mother box thing and the jack off with the Steppenwolf fight and the those fucking aliens in the Marvel universe. Like it's like, what the fuck? Faceless henchmen. I don't care if they're fear bugs or clay-faced dudes or whatever the fuck. It's just
BRB.
Okay.
Whatever. But yeah, we need I going back to the Daily Wire thing, as long as they produce a studio that can make the off projects that Hollywood's rejecting because they don't think it's financially worth it, they're going to prove that there was a reason that in the 80s all sorts of weird ass movies were being made. Because you don't get to the franchises without taking the risks.
Love me 80s movies.
Do you think Terminator, a new Terminator that wasn't associated with the existing Terminator, do you think a franchise like that gets born in this climate? They don't. You don't get the Arnie movies, the cheese movies, the Rambos. You don't get the ones that they've made these endless sequels and reimaginings and prequels and sequels and all this other nonsense. You don't get those without taking chances on new properties.
Mm-hmm. And they're not doing it.
They refuse to do it. The closest we got to that in the last decade has probably been Knives Out. But then again, it's just a reimagining of an Agatha Christie movie from 30 years before that.
Still haven't seen Knives Out.
It's a good movie.
Is it better than Shoot 'em Up?
Yes, by a lot. And
Are
I
you
love
lying
me
to
some
me?
Shoot 'em Up.
I love me some Paul Giamatti.
I love the cheese factor of Shoot 'em Up. It's the closest thing we've gotten in a decade to the return of the 80s cheese. But you get something like a RoboCop in the 80s. You get something like
God, the remake of RoboCop. Damn.
terrible.
Even the what is it? Platinum Dunes. You're not doing it justice. You're not doing anything justice. Quit making teenage mutant or teenage alien Ninja Turtles or whatever the fuck. No, don't. No, stop. No. I don't know what you're doing wrong, but you're doing everything wrong. I do know what you're doing wrong. Everything. Here, I answered your question for you. But yeah, we're not going to get another The Last Dragon.
Right.
All right, so the two I sent you are the best I could find in meme form to Sepio.
Where did you send it?
I don't got nothing.
I got
Telegram Club.
Oh.
Oh, that's Twitter. Hang on.
I know one sent, the other one doesn't.
This part is intentionally left blank.
Oh, yeah, okay, so they did.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
Those are pretty good, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's perfect.
Yeah, those are good.
What's up, Doc? Yeah, it's just you're not gonna find. We don't have the same level of masculinity in movies that we did with Big Trouble in Little China. Just a random ass dude taking it upon himself to solve it. We don't have any more falling downs. We don't have any more. You're not going to have a buddy cop movie for a while because all cops are bastards.
The last good one we had was Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell.
That's debatable.
Yeah, well, like I said, this is the
debatable.
best I can do in.
It's just wrong.
That's why it's debatable.
That's that was definitely the last one that I've seen.
I would rather have watched the other guys. Give me a Samuel L. Jackson rock movie.
Nah, I'll pass on all. Just give me Lethal Weapon and I'll call it good.
What we don't get is we either get hypermasculine with, The Rock and to some extent Samuel Jackson, though that dude's like 75. So
or what's his face?
71.
Jason Momoa, or
right. We get the pumped up Chris, one of the Chris's that's jacked up on steroids. We either get that or we get the weak. Who is the actor? Jeremy Eisner. I think that's his name. They played Lex Luthor in.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg. Okay, him.
Yeah.
Or you get the Michael Cera's or something like that.
Michael fucking Cera with Woody Harrelson being the sidekick. God.
Woody Harrelson is an odd character.
But what you don't get, this is my point, is you don't get the everyman that Kirk Douglas plays, or that.
You want to try that again? Give me either one. Just name one of the two.
Yeah, I've combined them.
Because I love them both. Just give me one or the other.
Michael Douglas.
Wait. Who did you combine?
He said Kurt Douglas.
Yeah, but I got Michael Douglas.
Well,
who's
you saw
Kirk?
where my brain was going.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell and
Kurt.
Michael Douglas.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think the closest he can do as far as an everyman is maybe Chris Pratt. Maybe.
Again, he's too jacked up.
He's a little on the buff side.
Okay.
But
he did that
Kurt
specifically
Russell
for
played
Marvel.
baseball on the weekends, and Chris Pratt plays professional baseball. I don't need who's that fucking blonde guy? Brian Bosworth. I don't need Brian Bosworth. Or 6'4" Jason Momoa, also a wonderful guy and everything. But you had Michael Douglas in Hard Rain as just a not taking shit cop. Or Hollywood Homicide. But I don't need the beefcakes that are Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme, or Rambo, which can't be made now. They were talking about Rambo in the chat.
Who was in Hollywood Homicide? It was Josh Hartnett and Harrison Ford. That's who it was. Okay.
Yeah, Harrison Ford. With his earring in. Fuck you, Harrison Ford. But they're talking about Rambo. Can't make Rambo now. Rambo was a specific time and place with a disaffected Vietnam vet who came back to a country that was not happy to see him.
Yeah.
And a disgruntled.
And also they tried to do it again, and they wound up just closing shop.
Well,
they made it the last one.
They still bring him back, and that's fine. Nick Cage and Bad Lieutenant. I saw the original Bad Lieutenant. Didn't see Nick Cage and Bad Lieutenant. Nick Cage could be one. John Travolta does a decent job. I fucking loved Face Off, even though that's a shitty as fucking. That's Face Off is as bad as, if you think about it, Armageddon. like you have to have that level of, why are they training oil riggers to astronauts instead of astronauts to rig? Like yeah, maybe no, maybe no. But I love me some Face Off, and you know, I guess really, Gerard Butler, who is not overly jacked anymore from his time as Leonidas, in the or the Channing Tatum in White House Down or Olympus Has Fallen. I guess that's the closest we've come to an 80s movie in a while.
No, dude. No. Every Marvel movie that has come out has been a replacement for the 80s action movie. It really has.
No. There has been zero getting the girl, with the exception of Paul Bettany. And he really didn't get her because he got his fucking skull crystal ripped out. But an 80s movie is you save the day, you get the girl, and the dog lives. And we're not having any of that anymore.
It's too cliche. Nobody would write it.
I want everybody to write it, and I will watch them all. The only difference between a regular 80s movie and like Face Off, which was happened in the 90s, is not only did he re-got the girl and got a child and saved the day.
Shit, I'm trying to remember what I watched this weekend. Oh, I watched Devil's Advocate. And
you did you?
Huh?
I'm Al Pacino.
It was not at all what I expected.
Yeah, but I don't care how scratched up you are. Charlize Theron still looks good naked.
Yeah, but the chick that played his sister, I know she was in Gladiator. I just forget what her actual name is. She looks better.
What? Gladiator? Sharon Stone? What the fuck are we talking about here?
No, not Sharon Stone.
Gladiator with Russell Crowe?
Yeah. The one that plays the Queen, opposite Joaquin Phoenix. She is the sister in Devil's Advocate.
Connie Nielsen?
Who is?
Connie Nielsen?
Yes.
The chick from the Wonder Woman movies. Also Soldier, starring Kurt Russell.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fucked up movie, Soldier. If you understand what happened. All right, so the movie itself was okay. But Kurt Russell, right before filming starts, he injures his ankle. And they still continue filming. And they film it, all of his sitting down scenes over the course of a week. And then his standing up scenes. And then his slight action scenes. And by the end of it is his full action scenes. Because he was healing from a twisted ankle. So very much shot out of order.
But again, go back to Devil's Advocate, look at the stills. Connie Nielsen, much better.
No.
Also, Charlize Theron at the time was 21. So.
Yeah, and I'm 41, which means I want me some Charlize Theron right now. But yeah, it's Keanu Reeves doesn't have the best range.
I thought he did pretty well, all things considered. I was reading the notes about it, though. There's a lot of people that were considered to play it. They were considering Brad Pitt, John Cusack. Files.
Ew.
Yeah, I might have to go look that up. I think Keanu Reeves did a good job.
Yeah, all things considered. Tropic Thunder was an homage to the 70s, and I hated everybody in that movie with the exception of Matthew McConaughey and Tom Cruise.
You kidding me? I loved everybody in that, including Tony Stark. That dude was fucking amazing in blackface.
He actually had to apologize for that a couple of months back for being in blackface. I'm like, were you guys not there for the movie? Like, the whole thing was that he got backlash at the time for blackface. He got guff in the movie about blackface. There was a guy who was black in the movie giving him shit for being
What do
black.
you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people? Huh? I mean, like,
oh shit!
I mean, the best.
That was so fucking funny. I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. Oh fuck!
Yeah, even today though, you can't say never go full retard.
Yeah, never go full retard.
Which is absolutely 100% Forrest Gump or Sling Blade.
Mm. No, that was Ben Stiller in that movie. He went full retard.
Yeah. So did Forrest Gump and Sling Blade. Ain't got no gas in it. I think it's funny when the actor has to play the kid that he is as an adult because the kid can't act. So they base their accents on the kid's accent. I like that. Like way to find your character, Tom Hanks. But
and I did watch the show last week. I've been saying this for fucking ever, and y'all finally agreed with me. Tom Cruise is not a great actor. He's a decent actor. He just has very good roles. I've been saying this.
You mean Tom Hanks?
Tom Hanks.
I was going to say, because Tom Cruise he's got like 3 roles, and he does them all well. But yeah, Tom Hanks.
No,
yeah.
Tom Hanks.
Sean Penn, yeah. Cuba Gooding Jr. in Radio went full retard as well. Don't go full retard. For as much as I dislike Sean Penn and his politics, The Gunman, pretty good movie. He did a very good job, especially with his handling of the gun.
Did Jim Carrey ever go full retard or no?
No, but he's always half retarded.
Fair enough.
But I really enjoyed.
Dumber exists.
Yeah, he's still just half retarded. Well, I think you can't get any dumber. You go and you totally redeem yourself.
Our pet's hands are falling off.
That's a stupidly quote old movie. Just stupid. Samsonite. I was way off. And Sean Penn was banging Charlize Theron for a good long while too. Disgusting.
Mm.
Yeah. Also,
I need to review Snatch with you guys too because I didn't do it last week.
Okay.
No?
What about it?
Terrible movie. 2 out of
Great
10.
movie. What are you talking about?
It's a good movie.
Fine. 3 out of 10. Or yeah, 3 out of 5.
Yeah, we do 5 out of 5s here, and 3 out of 5 is middle of the road, and I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Because it is hard to understand.
I just don't. I understand why it's frustrating to watch, but there's a lot of movies that are made like that with that idea of there's no particular star it follows. It's just everybody kind of revolving around something.
It's a storyline that's being revolved around, but yeah, I understand.
Right.
All right, what about Predator?
Predator? Oh, 4 out of 5, easy.
All right, Predator's 5 out of 5 because you're always wrong.
I almost would give it a 5 out of 5, purely based on nostalgia, though. So that's what makes me kind of stop
it was
and
5
think.
out of 5 when it debuted.
Yeah, it debuted at 5 out of 5. for two reasons, and they both pissed me. I'm going to yell at Matt to his entire head. So the guy with the shitty jokes was the writer of the film.
Was he?
Essentially giving himself shitty jokes. Shane Black wrote the film, and that was his character.
I always wondered why they had a squirrely motherfucker on a fucking SEAL team or whatever they were.
It was a rescue team. It was a rescue team. They were a recon rescue.
But okay.
And first off, if you
So
know
they
anything
wouldn't
about
be
the movie,
considered berets or anything like that.
no, they are the extraction team. They are the very best of the best. When the shit's hairy and people need to get pulled, you send in the very best. Which is why that team was sent in, is because they are the very best.
Gotcha.
And he was their communication, like their comms guy. So he would have been staying behind and radioing in everybody and calling in. You needed a brain for that character, and it didn't really matter because what happened. But like to say that Jesse Ventura had a pointless death, the alien killed everybody pointlessly. Like Bill Dukes, arguably one of the baddest asses of the group, pointless death. Carl Weathers, pointless death. Like he treated them like bitches, the entire thing. The only one I'd say is really, really pointless was Sonny Ladham, Billy's character, who didn't actually cause the delay, so he didn't do it. Like he just kind of gave up his life in the middle of a tree fort or whatever the fuck, or the tree bridge. But yeah, he was just like Billy Duke was hiding in some logs and turned and looked, and his head got blown apart. Carl Weathers saw a funny shadow and got his arm blown off and then speared through the gut. They didn't put up any kind of fight. They were all pointless deaths.
Well, the point is they were armed.
Yeah.
Well, the point was to show the power and prowess of the Predator.
Really, it was to show the power and the prowess of Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, Dutch.
Yeah, fine. At the end, sure.
Everybody else was no match for him. Arnold was, because everything is a ego to Arnold Schwarzenegger. But like, if you look behind the scenes, like each of those dudes was running 6 miles a day, and between scenes was doing push-ups to keep the gains showing in their biceps, triceps, running around half of Mexico, while Carl Weathers and the cast were battering around a new movie called Action Jackson, which is the baby of Predator and one of my all-time favorite movies. We had like 5 today. We talked about Falling Down, which I fucking love, Michael Douglas. We did Action Jackson for a hot minute there. I love Vanity. I don't care if she is in The Last Dragon, which can't be made today because of the undertones of all the racialness. Let's have the Chinese played by black people, and the black people, the Chinese characters. Let's have a group of 3 Asians outside listening to rap music, speaking in jive. Hookah haka sucky me haki su haki me haki to you. That'll be the name of the song it plays. Peterson Tello videos to get. What? Yeah. And we could do like fucking. I'll take Jai White as the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just Billy Blanks, or actually, I liked in the 80s they had real life martial artists as fighters in movies, like the Don the Dragon Wilson or the Cynthia Rothrock. Their villains were usually just as good as they were. Like, be like the middleweight and the light heavyweight kickboxing champions of the world would be fighting in a movie and nobody would know it, but like half a dozen people in the kickboxing world. He has a movie, I think it's called Virtual Combat, and it's like 6 of the world's best fighters at the time that he's fighting against in that movie. And Judo Jean LaBelle. We're missing out. Actually, something that was talked about in Timcast was they're not making roles for strong female characters. They're just putting female characters in male roles.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like right up there with Jack Nicholson and in that movie where you write a man and take away reason and logic.
Pretty much. which is why Captain Marvel sucks on ice.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But you could have a very decent character, like a female Hawkeye is understandable. A lightweight chick with a bow and arrow, with trick arrows, shooting people. That is perfectly fine and 10 times more wanted than Scarlett Johansson, who goes toe-to-toe with dudes.
Well, okay, so the original envisioning of the Black Widow was done right in the actual Avenger movies. She was done right. She was, she used her sexuality and her
gadgets.
Huh?
Gadgets.
Yeah, well, that, and she would always basically put the dude she was fighting into a false sense of superiority so that she could then catch them off guard, basically, and kick their ass. It wasn't a stand-up, toe-to-toe, I'm going to punch you, you punch me sort of thing that they've tried to do with Captain Marvel, who is basically Space Jesus.
That's a good way of putting it.
So they originally started out with her, correct. She puts guys at a disadvantage because they're not expecting her to actually be competent at basically kicking their ass.
Yeah. And her fighting style is a fighting style that is best for a weaker woman with a stronger man.
Right.
She's not throwing haymakers and fisticuffs. She's using her body weight. She's doing small joint locks. She's attacking weaknesses. Like Stephen just said, Salt. The way they had Angelina Jolie fighting in Salt or with a gun, more power to you. It is an equalizer.
Well, there's a reason that the original Charlie's Angels was women with guns.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for fucking that up, Drew Barrymore, and eventually Elizabeth Banks.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, question: do you guys still watch, or have y'all ever watched South Park?
I used to 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Oof, damn, it's been a while then. Because they actually started up their new season, and it's looking fairly decent compared to what came out the last couple years.
Whatever, they're still on Comedy Central.
No, they're on Paramount now.
Oh. I don't have Paramount, but I would have maybe given them a try.
You probably can still watch them for free on Comedy Central, but I watch them on
Junior
Paramount.
High yet?
Huh? No.
No, pass that.
They've never gotten past the 4th grade. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Boo! He was only partially disarmed, Maynard.
Yeah, but I don't know. The paradigm of Hollywood has to change, and it will change. It's just the growing pains with it absolutely suck.
Yeah.
The distribution method is completely different now, and I think that's where we're going to start seeing more of these micro series that are like 8 to 10 episodes, hour-long episodes long. That's what the storytelling's going to evolve into.
Well, I think, yeah, shows like The Sopranos and Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones really opened the door to that, where you had really good writing that takes a while to flesh out. But again, those are also not a lot of stunts, nothing too crazy as far as action goes. You know, it's tolerable. It's not overwhelming. So you are watching it for a story, not for quick.
Right, but in order to watch it for a story, the writers are going to have to get good.
Get good, scrub.
Well, they just need to quit being woke and quit trying to pump shit in there that's not necessary.
Not going to happen. They have to lose money for that to happen. And they're losing money making it happen. So
well, Disney basically the guy who took over is finally free of the guy before him. What was it? It wasn't Michael Eisner. It was somebody else that was before him. But that old CEO is finally out. He's not even there as a constructive role. And the first thing that happened in January was the new CEO put out a thing that says we're going to be focused on audiences. And by focusing on audiences is basically, corpo speak for them saying knock the woke shit off. Start listening to the fans.
Yeah.
They're the ones who pay your goddamn salaries.
Yeah, he was saying
and make money.
Yeah, Eisner was like, well, we're making a profit. No. I mean, you are making a profit as in positive money coming in, but you are leaking money in every woke bullshit propagandist nonsense you've put out in the past decade, and you're continuing to do it with a smile on your face. Bob Iger.
Yeah, is he the new one, or is he the one that just left, Steven? Steven's more in tune with this than I am. I just know that there was a memo that came out literally like the first week of January from the Disney CEO, after the guy that was before him finally stepped down as even a consulting role for the board of directors or whatever. He's like, we're going to focus on audiences. You're going to give the audience what they want. You're not gonna continue this horse shit, because
it's
Star Wars. What they did with those Star Wars movies, they felt the pain. They still made money on them, but they felt the pain because they were banking on it making a hell of a lot more than it ended up doing, and they watched as Episode 7 debuted and made a whole bunch of money. Then Episode 8 came out and made less, and then the shit reviews came out because it's shit, and then the third movie did absolutely goddamn terrible.
Yeah, it was Michael Eisner, then it was Bob Iger, and it's currently Bob Chapek.
Focusing on the audience,
but Eisner was the real bad guy.
Is what got us here in the first place. This is what we talked about when we said they had focus groups, and we're going through people saying, well, this doesn't fit this demographic, so on and so forth. You need to cut this, cut that. They're taking it a couple steps back.
Yeah, right. They need to.
Because the focus groups are not your audience.
Right.
That's the part they missed. They were trying to please everybody, and they need to learn the lesson of you cannot stop trying, because all
and they were doing it in the
is piss off different people to different amounts with the changes you're making.
Yeah, you have a movie come out, and you go to the focus group, and 90% of the people perfectly fine with the movie. They liked it, they buy it, and it'd be good. And they listen to the 10% of people who bitch, and they fix it. You don't fix for the 10%. You cater to the 90%.
Right. And when you try to make a movie for everybody, you make a movie for nobody.
Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. And with a lot of horror nowadays, they lose faith halfway through production, and they go, "We're going to make a PG-13." You can make a perfectly acceptable PG-13 horror movie, but it's got to start out as a perfectly acceptable PG-13 horror movie. You don't take a crap rated R horror movie and 3/4 of the way and turn it into a PG, because you're getting nothing.
Well, and the movies that do well, that blow expectations, are movies like The Hangover, which is the first rated R comedy that had been made in a decade, if not longer. And it did phenomenally well.
Yeah.
You take Deadpool and you make it rated R, and it does phenomenal, because the subject matter dictates that you're going to have mature audiences. Deadpool is not for children. Deadpool is for teens and those in their 20s with who are cynical and want campy and violent and absurd.
Mhm.
And-
Peacemaker is definitely not for children.
Right. Except that it is, because John Cena's audience is fucking children.
Well, there's like 5 sets of titties in that movie.
Maynard, they made a rated G horror movie. It's called Bambi.
Damn, dude. Wasn't that bad.
It terrifies
Well, I mean, let's
children.
not forget, Jaws is PG. Technically.
Yeah.
So is Beastmaster. So is Sheena. And then Steven Spielberg came out and ruined it for everybody.
Is Jurassic Park a G or PG movie?
PG-13.
PG-13? Damn. Okay. Because I was gonna say that scared the shit out of me when it came out. Those dinosaurs just look so real.
Yeah, Jurassic Park looked so real that there's a picture with Steven Spielberg sitting next to a Triceratops, and they claim that it was a safari picture, and he got in a lot of trouble for hunting Triceratopses.
Sweet Jesus. I can't tell if you're joking or not.
No.
That happened.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, shit. I was going to say something.
Because on average, people are dumb.
I don't think 13 Ghosts was PG. 13.
No, it's too bloody to be PG-13.
Well, I was thinking of the naked chick and the popped out titty, and then the guy cut in half.
I think you
think
can get
that-
away with one popped out titty in a PG-13.
Yeah, you get one popped out titty, but there was a naked chick.
Okay, I got to go, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Take care. The girl with all the slashes and the fake boobies. She was naked like the whole movie.
Yeah.
Not that they showed her a lot, but she was naked.
Welcome, Fiery, and thank you for the sub. I got an extra sub.
Fuck you. Yeah, 13 Ghosts was I already covered that statement.
Yeah, 13 Ghosts was a good movie.
Yeah. I always wanted to see a Cabin in the Woods style movie that was just them collecting the creatures. I think that'd be a fun series of movies. Like a group of elite soldiers tracking down and catching a werewolf.
Well, that's what made
But-
Supernatural, the show, run for 15 fucking seasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good idea. But it was better as a TV show than a series of movies.
So what did you rate Predator?
I rated it 5 out of 5
God damn right.
because I remember when it debuted. And it was awesome from jump because that was what was being made, and there was you don't overthink it. And again, that the whole complaining about the writer's character from Matt is it speaks to millennial sensibilities that Gen X wasn't bogged down with.
Yeah. It's like, wait a minute, this guy's special forces? How come he doesn't look like The Rock? because you have Jesse Ventura. You don't need two Jesse Venturas. What are you picking up? The back end of a truck? Who needs to do? Oh, Arnold does. That's
Well,
right.
and that's the other thing too, is that if you wanted to have a realistic movie of like a recon team, they're not all going to be Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzeneggers and Jesse Venturas. They're going to be a bunch of endurance racers.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be
Green
a bunch of
Berets are 5
marathoners.
foot. Yeah, Green Berets are 5'4", can run 100 miles a day and speak 6 languages. They can shoot the balls off a net.
Yep.
Not large dudes. You want a large dude? Go to the ones with the people who float, the Navy SEALs. Navy SEALs are like you can be a tall ranger, because rangers don't have to run 75 miles. They have to run like 20 miles. But you want someone who's got some muscle on them, you got to go to a SEAL.
Now, that's the thing too. These guys will be muscular, but they're going to be muscular like
Rey
gymnasts.
Mysterio.
Well, like gymnasts.
Yeah.
I mean, don't fuck with male gymnasts. That they're small in comparison to like height wise. They tend to be small, but pound for pound, they are the strongest motherfuckers in the world.
Chief Ray has the best ideas regarding world domination. I mean, well, yeah. What are they again? Yeah, I would much rather fight a bodybuilder than I would a gymnast. But on a scale,
even if it's Stephen Nash.
You mean Kevin Nash?
Kevin Nash.
No, he wasn't a bodybuilder. He was a basketball player. He's quick enough to fuck me up. I'll take Razor Ramon any day, though.
Yeah.
He's only 6'6".
Do you fight? Well, it boils down to this: do you fight Tank Abbott or do you fight Don Fry?
Oh, I fight Tank Abbott.
Yes, that is the correct answer.
And 47 seconds later, after I've run away, I'll go back to where he's gassed out and hit him with a brick.
You're gonna have to do that several. You're gonna have to do that several times because that man can take a punch. But yes, you have a better chance of beating Tank Abbott than you do Don Fry.
I watched live Tank Abbott fight Vitor Belfort.
Mm-hmm.
And Vitor Belfort was running backwards, counter-punching Tank Abbott. And the whole time I was shouting, "Fuck you" at my TV. That kid was ridiculous. And he never got his due. Like just the series of situations, that kid never got his due. And when he did get his due, his fucking sister was kidnapped by some fucking Brazilian gang during his fight. It's fucking awful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But even the big muscle guys, I could out wrestle because their muscles are all the large muscle groups, and wrestling really does involve the small muscle groups. Like you can't throw a punch that they couldn't catch, because they'll catch that punch. But you could also grab their wrists, and pulling it in circular motions will completely fuck up all their muscle groups. That's why the UFC training has all the weird things like the tire lift and the ropes, as opposed to 55-pound weights in your hands. But again, 20 years ago today, I'd lose against a midget with a racket bat.
What else we got? Because we need to wrap this up. It's 9:15, and I got to get the kids down.
It's 9:15. No, okay. We can go in. Apparently, I have to give Matt a lecture on Portland Athena.
What about
So, any other movie comments from the peanut gallery?
that? We need better ones.
We do need better ones. We could be the old guys in the balcony just shitting on everything nowadays.
More Statler and Waldorf.
DJ Penn was the little guy who put some fairly big guys down. And Hoist Gracie managed to go up against a couple of real wrestlers too. I mean, he didn't want to get there. He won against Chemo, but man, he got his ass kicked and couldn't move it on. Yeah, it's like, I just want to take Matt by the ear and be like, cultural significance, motherfucker. Yeah, I know. It's a great pistol now too. Which is why I don't drink, and I'm very much nicer than I used to be as a kid. Amazon track to ruin Lord of the Rings. We did talk about that earlier.
Yeah, you need to go back. Go way
Lord
back.
of the Rings.
Lord damn Rings.
We did cover that for a hot minute. All right, so I guess we are done here then.
Yep.
We'll give the link, and good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Well, I believe in good vibrations is what creates a beautiful nation. All you need is the will